Oh, I have so much to say today. You have no idea. Irrelevant news. Somebody robbed Bryce Hall.
Someone really stole my checkbook and wrote themselves a check for $8,200, and it deposited from my bank account, LOL. Kind of dumb considering I'll get it back and now find out who it was.
Oh, geez. First they robbed Bryce Hall of his dignity. Now they're robbing him of his money. The guy can't win once, folks.
I'm not even mad at the people who are trying to cash out checks using my checkbook. I'm actually sorry that that's the path they need to go to even get some money. I'm praying for you. I'll know who you are in 9 days.
And Bryce Hall promises to let that person knock him out as punishment for stealing his money. Anyway, folks, Bryce also addressed the end of the Sway House.
I party. Don't get me wrong. I party my ass off. But no one works as hard as me in the group.
Bryce is right, folks. He works his butt off consistently. After all, those L's aren't going to stack themselves. But Bryce didn't only make a statement about the end of the Sway House. He also stopped by Tana Mongeau's podcast.
So Taylor's suing Austin, no?
Yeah.
For what? I saw it on like a drama channel, but I don't know. Like
Probably the months of hard work that we put in and then not getting paid.
Oh, really? That's why they're suing Austin McBroom? Jeez, I thought they just wanted to have some fun in a courtroom.
Are you gonna sue him?
Yeah, well, I'm broke, so.
You're not.
Yeah, I'm not
You're
buying
like
it.
super not broke. Are you going to sue him though?
Nah. I mean, I'm dealing with everything legally. It doesn't even need to be a suing.
Do you think you'll
It's-
ever end up getting paid, or do you
Yeah.
think his like foreclosing home is like?
No, I will.
You know, I gotta hand it to Bryce, folks. Most people, if they were in his situation, taking a massive L in the boxing ring and then taking another massive L, not getting paid the $5 million he had been promised to get paid for in this fight, they would have just quit this whole situation, folks. But not Bryce. He keeps stacking those L's. But all jokes aside, it's actually been pretty awful seeing what Austin McBroom has been doing to Bryce, to Taylor Holder, and to all the talent that was involved in this event, as well as the producers, including Live by Live. Like, so many people put so much on the line to make this happen just to fulfill this man's ego. And, I mean, he's basically kind of pretending like nothing's happening. He was even at one point just fighting back as though he was in the right and everybody was lying to him. Yes, ego is one hell of a drug. Anyway, folks, Tana later responded to Jake Paul calling her a sloth.
He really called me a sloth. You know, he really said fake.
I saw that.
Sloth.
I saw that. She did this, and I thought, because we talked about it before we got on, I thought she was calling his dick
So
small.
did I.
Bryce should know about this very well, folks. I mean, all that steroid use ends up having an effect down there. Anyway, folks, Keemstar went on the No Jumper podcast, and in true Keemstar fashion, he said a whole bunch of lies.
For years, you had Scarce as your muse, pushing you to do as good a job as possible because you had a little young, attractive whippersnapper barking at your heels.
Yeah. Now I don't know what the motivation is.
The T channels. Making sure Deaf Noodles doesn't take your spot.
I don't think they ever will.
You see, folks, contrary to Keemstar, I believe that there's enough room for everybody in this business. In fact, I encourage everyone to start a channel and start talking about this because I believe that diversity of voices is only going to enrich the dialogue that we all have together. But Keemstar doesn't believe that, folks. Keemstar is a monolith. He's ancient. He's basically a dinosaur at this point. And he's cowering in a corner, terrified he may one day lose his spot when, in fact, nobody gives a flying fuck.
What is your read on that? Like, does it ever make you feel like, what is the position? Like, what is Drama Alert's role when you have 5 million other channels who are basically trying to do the same sort of thing?
I don't think any of those T channels or drama channels are seen as like fellow YouTubers amongst the stars, if you will.
You know, it's funny that Keemstar makes that point, folks, because I know at least a few different channels who have way more access to people than he could ever have. You have to remember, folks, Keemstar is a dinosaur. He's been around for like 15, 20 years. Yes, he may know some people, but there are plenty more people who wouldn't talk to them, not even if their life depended on it. And for him to pretend like he's the gatekeeper of this entire community, as though people have to go through him to have access to the T commentary and drama community, is perhaps the most idiotically pretentious thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
That was one thing that I recall you saying, was that Deaf Noodles was kind of fucking the game up because all these stories that you would be working on developing so you could give the full story at the end of the day on Drama Alert, if you have somebody who's got a big following and they're just sort of blasting out all these stories all the time, all day on Twitter, you know, that could help somebody build up their name, but then also, like, you know, it's tougher to monetize when all these stories are already fully fleshed out on Twitter throughout the day.
Well, he was putting out a lot of misinformation too. I mean, how many times did Def Noodles like put out a story that was just blatantly wrong or false? And
Now, folks, I'm glad that Keemstar brought this up because getting stories wrong is truly worthy of criticism. However, the whole narrative behind what he just said is absolutely blown out of proportion to the point where it completely ignores the truth. You see, in the few instances where there were mistakes made on the Def Noodles Twitter account, they were diligently corrected. Now, there were 2 mistakes that were truly worthy of criticism. They were 2 allegations in a sea of about 20 against James Charles. One where somebody straight up lied about their interaction with James Charles, and another that was just a joke. Now, in both instances, not only were their tweets quickly published, retracting the story and correcting the record, but they were also covered in a video in July. Now, to say that any of the Def Noodles accounts publish misinformation has to be one of the most dishonest and slimy arguments that anybody can make against Def Noodles, and it heavily implies that that person probably doesn't follow any of the Def Noodles social accounts, because anybody who follows this channel or the Twitter or the Instagram knows for a fact every single post that goes up on a Def Noodles account has a receipt or evidence attached to it. And the reason for that is in early 2020, I had a meeting with my lawyer, and he explained to me that the best way for me to run this business was to attach supporting documents, reports, statements from people to every single thing I post on Twitter and Instagram. That's why every single thing I posted usually had some kind of picture or a video, and it had somebody else's statement that was alleging that or saying whatever they were saying, because I'm not making those allegations. It's somebody else, and I'm just presenting that information. And same thing with my videos, folks. There's a reason why you watch the clip and then you see me talk, because I'm presenting what was said. I'm presenting whatever the facts are of the situation, and then I'm having my opinion or my joke following it. And with all that being said, when there is a mistake made on the Def Noodles account, it is worthy of criticism, and I welcome that criticism. However, folks, you have to understand that when Keemstar talks about my business in any capacity, he is extremely biased, and he has a profound interest in trying to destroy any possibility of my business growing, and he does this thoroughly on his Twitter, and as you can see here on the No Jumper podcast, any opportunity he can, he will try to shit and diminish the credibility of my business, because he doesn't want competition in this space. He is weirdly competitive. He doesn't want anybody to have a piece of the pie. In fact, Keemstar is so out of his fucking mind when it comes to competition, folks, that even though we had spoken for literally months over DMs, we have each other's phone numbers, we texted, we even talked on the phone several times, one time for almost an hour. Even though we had somewhat of an acquaintance with each other, the minute that Ethan Klein and Trisha Paytas started retweeting me, he absolutely lost his shit, even though I had nowhere near the same relationship that I had with Keemstar. Like, I actually kind of knew Keemstar. I had never even spoken to Ethan or Trisha, and he fucking lost his shit to the point where he DM'd me this.
You have lost your motherfucking way, and you have lost your motherfucking mind. The day has come, Dennis, and when it comes, I want you to know it was me. What? No comment? Why are you working for Ethan and Trisha?
I totally ignore those DMs, folks. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? Reassure some insecure 40-year-old man having a midlife crisis in his home office, trembling because one guy is making videos in the same segment as him? Oh, man. Was so fucking pathetic. Anyway, the next day, he did DM me again, and not really apologizing, but just kind of acknowledging that he had a mental breakdown and that it's not normal to do what he did. And from that day on, folks, this motherfucker started attacking me constantly, nonstop on his Twitter. And even though I have done things that are worthy of criticism, a lot of the things that he would attack me for were completely fabricated, out of his mind, just off his rocker bullshit. As you can see in this tweet where he literally says that I published 5 consecutive false stories, and he only provides one that isn't even a story. I was just saying that it was a joke in bad taste.
Aged like milk, Jason Nash trying to kiss Katy Perry. She freaks out and runs away saying, oh my God.
This wasn't even a news story. This was just pointing out that this joke aged really poorly, especially considering the entire scandal that David was embroiled in earlier this year. It's just pointing out, it says aged like milk, and it just describes exactly what's happening in the clip. And of course, it's fake. Everybody knows that the content that David makes is pre-planned. And you know, just to avoid confusion, at the very end of the thread, I added a comment explaining that the bit was pre-planned so that people weren't confused. But that wasn't the only time this inbred Sean Hannity tried to spin this narrative, folks, because a bit after that, he took this tweet of mine covering comments made by Logan Paul deal about Bryce Hall's payment for the YouTube versus TikTok boxing event, and he literally tried to make it seem as though I made the statement, to completely ignore the fact that I'm covering Logan Paul's statements, and this is what my tweet said.
Content 4K, Bryce Hall allegedly lied about getting offered $5 million to fight Austin McBroom. Logan Paul alleges Bryce's contract was only $2 million, but they said it was $5 million for perceived value and clout.
Now, I don't know if this is some kind of parody or if he's trying to be funny, but the fact that he literally said something in the caption of his tweet that is completely contradicted by the screenshot of my tweet with the fact that it has the actual video embedded in the tweet where Logan Paul says the comments, it just adds an extra level of irony. But folks, Keemstar knows that the vast majority of people are just going to read the fucking caption. In fact, that is what the vast majority of people did. If you go through his comments on that tweet, there may be just a handful of people who are like, dude, did you actually read what the tweet says?
Hiding behind allegedly when the truth could have been obtained with a little research still makes you in the wrong. Did you not read what Def posted? The story was actually about Logan making that comment about Bryce's contract on today's Impulsive. Def added allegedly since he didn't know if it was true. Then Bryce's manager or whoever he is said it wasn't true, and Def reported in that as well.
But the best response by far to one of these tweets was somebody literally handing a person who believed Keemstar their fucking brain. Because, folks, you gotta be really deeply fucking stupid to take anything that Keemstar says at face value. He is so deeply dishonest and slimy, he doesn't give a fuck about the truth. All he cares about is Keemstar and Drama Alert being on top. He will literally destroy anyone to make that happen. But don't worry, folks. I saved the best example, this dumb fuck trying to call me out for last, because in June of this year, I covered a story about Minecraft streamer Dream getting criticism for not doing enough live streams during Pride Month to support LGBT causes as he had promised. And guess what, folks? Dumb fuck Keemstar ended up accusing me of publishing a false story, and in fact, he said it was the 4th false story that week. And guess what, folks? He never said what the other 3 were because he's, you know, just making it up as he goes along. But unfortunately for dumb fuck Keemstar, folks, karma had other plans, because people quickly noticed that dumb fuck Keemstar had covered the exact same story on his Instagram.
Kind of funny that you made the same lie on your Instagram page, LMFAO.
Folks, you can't blame dumb fuck Keemstar for being fucking dumb. The guy's a fucking inbred. His brain isn't fucking fully formed.
It's funny that you call people out for posting without thinking, but the same amount of times you post dumb shit, then insta-delete is hilarious, LMAO. So he was a liar before you realized you said the same. That means, according to you, you're a liar too.
Whoa, hold your horses. Keemstar, a liar. No, the truth hurts.
Dude, you saying a dude lied, yet you lied about him lying? Don't delete your fucking original post. Own up to it.
This guy who supposedly is against cancel culture and is against going after people, he was so thirsty to try to bring me down that he literally brought himself down.
At least you double checked, not like most people. He literally posted this before checking and deleted it when confronted. What the fuck are you talking about?
Wait, you're telling me that Keemstar, the guy who is literally the paradigm for intelligence, morality, and decency on the internet, got something wrong, immediately deleted and pretended like nothing happened? Oh, I'm so surprised. That is perhaps the best double standard about this whole Keemstar situation, because it is so incredibly hilarious to see Keemstar talk about spreading misinformation and never correcting it, when this guy is literally the king of spreading misinformation and not correcting it and hiding and pretending like he didn't do anything wrong. This guy's entire existence on the internet is spinning himself out of the bullshit that he does. In fact, here's an amazing tweet that this inbred motherfucker never corrected.
I heard of rumors about Social Gloves pay-per-view already clearing 1 million buys. Trying to confirm if true. OMG.
Whoa, sounds like he missed the mark on that one by almost 900,000 buys. Jeez. This guy. And all that to say that, folks, yes, I am worthy of criticism just like anybody else. I am human after all. Just be aware that if it's coming from dumb fuck Keemstar, he's probably got a secret agenda.
That's pretty crazy, though. They has Twitter taken down and decided to basically ditch the Def Noodles persona on YouTube.
I wish I knew more behind the scenes of what happened.
This motherfucker has to be a fan, folks. He spends his free time thinking about what Def Noodles is doing with his fucking life. I don't dedicate a single fucking second to think about Keemstar, except when he fucking says some blatant bullshit about me and I have to screenshot it and see whether I have to fucking respond to it. So he literally must be in fucking love with me, because he wants me thinking about him all the fucking time, because he's lying about me all the fucking time. I'm like, dude, leave me the fuck alone, Keem. Fuck, don't you have a new girlfriend? Bro, jeez.
It feels, from the outside looking in, the dude like a hitman squad on the internet went after him to take him out.
Right.
And he hurried up and got scared and changed his whole persona. Like what?
Like
what
Lu-
happened?
like Lu-
I gotta be honest with you folks, I can't hate Keemstar right now. I have to appreciate a fan that is this passionate and dedicated to Def Noodles. He's spending his free time trying to understand why I killed off the character when I literally explained just a few videos ago that it was because I wanted to be myself, and it feels so much more freeing to be myself.
Losing the Twitter just shocked him so much that he just was like, you know what, this whole thing is a bad idea.
The only bad idea was me playing a fucking character and not being my fucking self. Do you understand how fucking difficult it is to not be your fucking self all the fucking time for about 10 hours a day when you're fucking making videos and you just want to say the fuck once? I just had to be myself. It just feels more natural to be this. I understand all the speculation. Oh, why did he quit? There were people who literally thought I was going to retire my entire fucking channel. No, folks, I'm literally doing the exact same thing, except now I'm actually me.
Have you seen his new content?
I saw the video about not being Def Noodles anymore, but I didn't see any of the new videos.
It's so weird when he's talking and he's just him and he's like calm and I don't know what that is. I can't believe people are still watching him.
Folks, I want to take a moment right now and acknowledge a very special person in the audience right now, Keemstar, who apparently follows every single one of my steps, watches every single one of my videos. I want to thank you for being such a loyal fan, and I want to share a very special message with you. Hey, Keemstar, how you doing? Heard you've been running your mouth about me. How about you go fuck yourself, you fucking piece of shit? Go have a fucking awful day. Anyway, Trisha Paytas and followed Ethan and Ela Klein. And then they made an appearance on Dumbfuck Keemstar's podcast.
I would absolutely love to sit down and talk to Ethan. Like, I have a lot to say, but he would never pay. He would never do that.
Wait, why?
He would never in a million years.
Why?
Because Ethan's a pussy. He really is. He really is.
Trisha,
Yeah.
Ethan will not put himself in a situation where he knows he's going to lose.
Isn't it amazing to see a grown-ass man put so much value on winning a fucking argument on the internet? It almost seems like he's trying to make up for the fact that his life is really fucking pathetic. Anyway, folks, Trisha Paytas later discussed the end of frenemies and why they thought Ethan Klein didn't want to share the unreleased episode.
You posted all my breakdowns, but you're not going to post this one where I kind of look like at least we're balanced
Decent.
and being in the wrong. Yeah. So I have a little animosity towards him. Like, I still obviously like love Ethan, but like I do have a little bit of that. I get what you're saying.
Whoever thought anything good was going to come out of this podcast outside of Buzz was grossly misinformed.
Did you file the strike against Ethan's channel?
I did not. I did not.
You didn't?
What? This is what happened. All right. Ethan uploaded a video, I want to say like 6 months ago, and he had this Keemstar puppet doll. I'm sure you're familiar. He showed it before.
He was fucking it.
He was fucking the
love
Keemstar
that.
puppet doll. And I'm like, in what world
funny,
is this
man. He is
okay
funny.
on YouTube?
Well, folks, thank goodness we have Karen Keemstar taking care of the YouTube ecosystem and making sure that anything that personally offends them gets directly reported to YouTube. By the way, this is the second video that Keemstar just admitted to reporting of Ethan's.
So I mentioned it to my YouTube rep. I'm like, can you do this stuff on YouTube? And he's like, no, I don't think so. And so then it got age restricted. And I was like, okay, well, something for that, right? But that should have been a flag. Like, it didn't make sense.
Karen Keemstar to the rescue, keeping these YouTube streets clean.
I got angry. I didn't flag him, but I like made a Twitter video, like tagging Team YouTube, and I tagged Susan, the CEO of YouTube.
I saw that.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on here? Like, you can't do this shit. Why? If I respond in this same matter, my channel's gone.
Folks, don't get angry at Karen Keemstar, please. He doesn't have the cojones to respond in equal manner. He has no option but to run to mommy YouTube.
I deleted that Twitter video because I thought that was like over the top, and then they eventually took action against him.
Oh, thank goodness that Keemstar deleted that Twitter video shortly before the strike came in. That way he could still maintain plausible deniability.
I technically did flag because I made a Twitter video tagging CEO.
You didn't report it though.
I didn't do it through YouTube, no.
Keemstar, don't admit that you actually flagged the video. It's not a good look, especially considering you just said you did it twice.
More so than almost anybody on the internet, me and Keem are all about open discussion. You should be able to say whatever the fuck
I'm not
you want.
about I'm not about censorship.
Folks, we are witnessing the Michael Phelps of lying, the Michael Jordan of fibbing. This man, there is nobody greater than Keemstar at lying. This guy will literally lie about his lies. He'll lie on top of lie. He'll compound lies. His entire existence on the internet is a whole fucking lie, because he will literally admit that he flagged the creators' videos twice, to the point where there were consequences, one age restriction and a strike. And then he'll turn around and say that he is for free speech and not deplatforming. What a fucking hoot. Now a palate cleanser.